Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will go through what are, in my opinion, the best ways to make some gold right now in patch 9.2. So I'm doing this type of videos maybe once every like 2-3 weeks because everything is always evolving a lot, and so I want to keep people updated. So I will go through the best ways to like the worst ways, let's say, and each time I will try to explain why it's a good way in my opinion, if it's good or not for high pop realms, for medium, low pop realms, and my personal recommendations in order to make it as efficient as possible. So let's start with what is going to be, in my opinion, for this week, the best way, and it's still going to be the legendaries. So I'm sure that it comes to no surprise to any of you. The legendaries are still like selling for a lot, and now that the prices of most of the materials, especially the progenitor essentia, has really decreased a lot, it's very easy to craft a lot of these legendaries, and people still buy a lot of them. So most likely on a high pop realm and full pop realm, you can probably like make a couple millions per day in profit, and even on medium and low pop realms, it's still extremely interesting. Some of these legendaries are better than others, as you can see according to the sell rate. And so I made a video where I'm going through all of these different legendaries, and I'm ranking them from like best to worst. So if you want to know which ones you should invest in at the moment, you can watch the video. But yeah, so I think it's still gonna remain really good for at least a couple more weeks. And so that's why I'm still gonna have to put this category of item as my number one. So my number two is gonna be simply flipping the auction house. And by flipping the auction house, I really include everything. Whether it's materials, such as for instance, all the new 9.2 materials, the Progenium ore, or like the Progenitor Essentia, things like that, or even like old materials, it's very easy to flip, especially when you don't have a lot on low pop and medium pop realms, but even on full pop realm, it's always easy to flip a couple and like make a little bit of profit with these materials. I'm also thinking about like the legendaries, for instance. On many full pop and high pop realms, you will be able to find some of these items for like sometimes, like 20k lower than the second uh, auction. And so what is easy to do is simply to buy the item and resell it. And really sometimes in like 5 minutes, you can really make 200k gold just by buying a few and reselling them. And the legendaries are really not too risky. So for instance, on most realms, if you see like any legendary that is not cloth, that is less than like 40-45k gold, and that you see that there is not a lot of other items, just after. So for instance, if there is 5 at 45k gold, it's not a really good deal. But if you see that there is like 3 at 65k gold and 1 at 40k gold, just purchase the one at 40k gold, put it at 65, and probably like in a few minutes to like an hour, you'll sell it for 65k gold. So really, there is like a lot of other items. One of the items that I personally really like is the goop. So I don't have one right now, but it's the strange goop, the item that will allow you to then summon Irukon and get the mount. It increases your chance by 100%. So for instance, on many realms, I'm just buying the complete stock and I'm reselling them. So for instance, here, as you can see, can resell them easily for twice the price. And also what I'm planning to do is to just keep all these items because they will remain relevant after the end of this extension. And so probably like in 10.0, you will be able to sell these items for way more gold. But that's something I will cover in a later video before the end of the extension. So stay tuned for that. After that, of course, I also have like all the different mounts, all these different things. You also have like one category of item that I find like pretty interesting. It's the weapons. So of course you have like the main weapon, Varruth. So as you can see, for instance, here, I still have a lot because I'm buying a lot of them. And I'm reselling them on average for 240k gold and buying them on average for 150k gold. So it's really good in terms of the value I can make just by buying and reselling these items. Same with these like 229 weapons. On Low pop and medium pop realms, I would say that really this could be like, I mean, it can really be a good way to make a lot of gold. As you can see here, I sold a lot of these items for like more than 10k gold, like even more than 15k gold on some occasions. And as you can see, for instance, here, selling 2 items at 12k gold and buying 15 at, it's like still you will make a profit just by selling 2 of them. Here it's the same. Here it's even like more important, the difference. So I would say that if you're on on a low pop or medium pop realm, it could be interesting to try. It really is not a big risk. I try to do it on high pop and full pop realms, but it's just too difficult because people just directly, come back with new items and sell them for like 200, 300 gold. And so at some point, you just end up with 40 of these items. And even if by selling just 1 or 2 at like 20k gold, you will like, refund everything you spent, it's just a lot of energy that you need. So it's still a category of item that I want to mention. But yeah, I would say if you can look into that, otherwise, maybe it's not the best idea. Another category of item are the different lattices. So on some realms, it can be very easy to buy like a stock and then resell it for like a better price. Especially, I'm thinking about like the ones with a really good sell rate. So, for instance, the Raptora one, the Servid one, and you also have like the Lupin and all these ones. So, in my opinion, this is a really interesting way to make some gold, but these ones can be a little bit tricky because on many high pop and full pop realms, again, it's just too competitive and people will come back, and in not even an hour the prices will be back at like 200 gold. So maybe not the best, but on low pop and medium pop, again, it can be interesting. So really for me, like, yeah, like the legendaries, especially high pop and full pop realms, is going to be very interesting. For instance, like I bought this one for 68 k gold this morning, and as you can see, someone is already going to buy it for 120k gold. It's very easy to make a lot of gold with the different legendaries just by buying and selling. And then all these other like materials are also good on full pop, and also like medium and low pop, and then the different like weapons and things like that. And the last thing I want to mention are, of course, the raid BoEs. So, in my opinion, the raid BoEs are also a really good way to like make a lot of gold by flipping these items. For instance, I bought this cape for 150k gold like 3 days ago, and I just sold it for 250k gold. So it's really like in 3 days, just 100k gold. I had to post it like maybe like 4 or 5 times. There is not a lot of competition, so just always keep an eye on these different items because you will most likely be able to make a lot of gold. And of course, the best ones are the cape and the mail boots because these are some items that don't share some of the like tier set rooms. So really, the cape especially is a good item to invest in. But again, it can be a little bit risky sometimes because it can be like a little bit expensive, and you never know when the prices are going to crash. But still, I would say anything lower than 100, 150k gold for the cape will probably like be interesting. Of course, the Eric cape, and then like 400k, 500k gold for the mythic one will most likely reward you with some gold after that. So that's pretty much it for my second position. But really, for me, this is one of the best at the moment, and so that's why I spent a little bit of time. And yeah, I'm sure you will be able to make some gold whether you're playing on a full, medium, or low pop realm. So after that, we're gonna have all the different Mage Tower like materials and consumables and sets that you can craft and sell. So I made a video where I'm going through all the different things you can do to make some gold during this event a few days ago, so I won't go too deep into this topic. But basically, you really have everything from the different gladiator sets that you can craft from Mist of Pandaria. You also have like all the different like armors such as the like belt buckles. You also have like the leg armors that will sell for a lot. You have like really a lot of things in terms of consumables. You have a lot of potions, a lot of like food buff and everything. You of course also have like all the different materials needed. So I'm, for instance, thinking about the spirit of harmony and all these different items. So all these different things like are gonna be extremely interesting. And yeah, also like for me, I think like some of the gems are gonna be the best. I'm gonna do I think a follow-up video just to explain how you can quickly upgrade the Battle for Azeroth like jewel crafting profession, because it's so easy, and then all these different gems are selling really fast and they're really good. So they're the best in slots. So I would say really that this is a good way to make some gold. So if you want to learn more, you can go check my video. And yeah, in my opinion, it's really gonna be one of the like really best ways, at least during the first week, as the Mage Tower is coming back. But again, probably it's gonna fade away after a little bit of time, so it's gonna remain probably good for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and after that it's just gonna remain like a normal way to make some gold. But at least I'm sure that tomorrow you should have like quite a lot of sales. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna put this activity as my number 3. Okay, so I just quickly changed my transmog because someone told me that it's ridiculous for me to appear in my videos with some random armor pieces when I have like the full tier 3, so I just did that. So now when it comes to the fourth best way, I would say that the different 262 BoEs that you can craft are gonna be still pretty good. Especially I made a video where I'm talking about how you can personalize some of these items, and you will be able to really make a lot of gold without even having to undercut. So for instance, if I take this ring, I know that these people like will most likely have a couple of sales, but as I have, for instance, this item that is very specific to tanking, specs, people will still end up paying 80k gold instead of 29k gold, because they know that this item is way more relevant, and they don't want to have to spend another like 30k, 40k gold later in the patch. So I would say that all these 262 BoEs are still going to be pretty good on most realms. Here, as you can see, even if someone is putting them at a very, very low price, with the like Progenitor Essential being around 10k gold, it's still a nice like 20 or like 15k gold profits on each of these items. And as you can see, all of them sell like pretty fast. So especially again, the rings, of course, the rings and the necklaces are the ones that are selling for really like the best. I mean, really, they're selling super fast. So yeah, for me, they're still gonna be my number 4. And on most rooms, I'm pretty sure you should be able to make a decent profit with these different items. So after that, at number 5, I would say that all the different materials are gonna be still pretty good. Especially, I'm thinking about all the different like ore and all these different like like items that you need in order to craft the like plate, armor pieces. These, I don't know why, really like increased. The prices increased a lot recently, especially like the Sinvir ore, the Progenome ore. I mean the Elysium ore, and also over like type like the Phaedrum ore. So all these different items right now are selling pretty well on most realms, even in high pop realms and full pop realms. It's still gonna be like 20 gold per ore. So really, I think it's a good way at the moment to make quite a lot of gold. And of course, you have like all the other items, even like for instance the pelt, the new pelt from 9.2 from Zereth Mortis are selling pretty well, and even like the silk, the proto fiber silken, even these ones, as you can see, sell for quite a lot. So I would say that still it's gonna be a good way to make quite a lot of gold at the moment. And yeah, if you prefer to do this type of activities rather than like crafting and flipping items, then it's definitely gonna be a good way for you to make a lot of gold. And really, it's good on any realms, whether you're on high pop, full pop realms, or low pop, medium pop realms. It's good because on medium and low pop realms, it will sell for a higher price, but it will take more time. When on like high pop realms, really you just farm, put it on the auction house, and put it like in an hour, everything will be sold. So trust me, if you want to make some easy gold, that can be a good way. So at number 6, I'm gonna talk about just the character like transfer and basically the realm transfer like gold making. So this is something that I've covered quite a lot in my latest videos. And this is something that I know a lot of people are not a big fan of, and I can understand why. I just want to reassure some of you who are not, like certain that this is like, for instance, like legal or not. So this is legal. I've sent some request. I mean, some, I've asked GMs and everything, and they told me that it was something that was maybe not encouraged, but it was completely fine. So if you are interested, I would say that this is definitely going to be one of the best ways to make some gold. I didn't put it at my number one because it's only relevant for a couple of people who might have enough gold to do this type of like character transfer and like gold swap activities. But when you have enough gold and you are, like okay with taking the risk, then most likely you will end up making a lot of gold just by, for instance, buying materials on one realm and selling these materials back on other realms, or yeah, buying materials, crafting legendaries, and then selling like the legendaries across different realms. All these different things are going to be very, very profitable. But again, I can understand why some people are not a big fan, and also why it might be a little bit too risky for many of you. So this is why I'm only putting it at number 6. And also, this is why I'm not going to spend too much time on it. At number 7, we're going to have, of course, the boosting activities. Again, this is very similar to the number 6. It's something that can reward you with a lot of gold, especially right now the Mythic Plus, and also the different heroic runs for the new raid. All these different things can be really, really profitable. But again, this is only for a small amount of people, and this is something that can also be seen as not so good for the game. So this is why I'm only putting it at number 7. And again, I'm like fine with like these different boosts, especially now that Blizzard is trying to reduce a little bit the amount of boost. I think, if you're a guild and you're really good, it's okay for you to like offer your services. And for people who might not, enjoy, for instance, doing mythic pluses, but who still need the stuff, for me, it's normal that, these type of boosting activities exist. And so that's why I completely tolerate them. But again, I understand that for many people, this is not something you want to hear about. So I'm just going to put it here, and I'm going to move on to number 8. So at number 8, I have two items that I think are still worth farming at the moment. The first one is going to be the Varruth Guillotine. So as you can see, the sell rate is still pretty good, and the value is still like more than 200k gold. It really depends on your luck. I know that some people, for instance, got it after like killing, maybe 5 packs of Monstrum strikers. When over are still trying to get it after spending 7 hours killing mobs. So I know it can be like very long, but if you are willing to do it, I would say let's just do it, because honestly, you can sell it and make a lot of gold with these different weapons. And even on high pop and full pop realms, on most of them, you will still be able to sell it for at least 2k, 200k gold. It's just that there is a lot of competition. And on low pop and medium pop realms, of course, when you have one, most likely you will be able to sell it for more than 200k gold without having to cancel scan too much. So really, for me, this is one of the two items that I think is still really relevant at the moment. And the other one is, of course, the strange goop. So unfortunately, I don't have one right now to show you, but the strange goop can really, reward you with quite a lot of gold. Of course, it depends on which realm. On high pop and full pop realms, unfortunately, it's only going to be around like 100k gold, something like that. But on medium and low pop realms, it can really sell for more than 200 to more than 300k gold. I personally sold a lot of them for like 180, 200k gold on my realm. And again, I'm flipping the item as I explained. I'm not farming it, but if you're someone who just likes to, for instance, fish and get some rare items, then I would say that this is something that might be a good activity for you. Again, I'm putting it at number 8 because it requires a lot of luck to get these different items. So even if they're pretty good, they're still extremely like difficult to get. So I'm putting it there because I think they're still worth being mentioned. But again, it might be a little bit tricky. So at number 9, and this is maybe something I could have added before, but I know that it really varies from a realm to another. I want to talk about all the different consumable that you can craft, especially, for instance, the different potions. So here you have like some of them. So the spectral flask of power, for instance, as you can see, this one on many realms still sells for a lot of gold. As you can see, I sold really a lot of these. So these type of items can still really be profitable. You have, for instance, also the food buff, the empty kettle that can be pretty interesting on some realms. Then you have like, of course, the different drums and things like that. But of course, it really depends on your realm, and unfortunately, on many realms, it's not really profitable, or like you will just make a few gold, and it's very competitive. So I'm gonna put it at number 9. I think it's still a really good way to make some gold, but it's very competitive. And again, on many realms, it might be a little bit too, like the profit might be a little bit too short. So for you, it might not be interesting. But still, I will put it at number 9, and I think this is still something that you should consider adding to your auction house, because you might end up making some sales even without having to undercut too much. At number 10, I'm gonna mention the different rank 6 and rank 5 and also rank 4 legendaries. So right now, of course, the main focus is on the rank 7, the 291 high level legendaries, but the 262 can still sell for quite a lot. And the thing is, like, probably a lot of people stopped paying attention to these legendaries because, well, they are too focused on selling the 291 legendaries. And so I'm sure that on many realms you will be able to like maybe craft one or two of these legendaries and make quite a lot of gold. Of course, it can be like a little bit, you know, like time consuming to have like the rank 7, the rank 6, the rank 5, the rank 4 to pay attention to. So what I do personally is I just like put them at a very low price, because also I want to break the competition. And like that, I'm still able to make quite a lot of sell. Yesterday I sold, for instance, one of these rings for 130k gold, so it can still sell for quite a lot of gold. And also one thing that is interesting is the fact that the Cortite crystals are now selling for almost nothing. At least on my realms, they're extremely cheap. So as you can see, if I want to craft one rank 6 or rank 5 legendary, I can do it just by spending 2,600 gold just on the crystals. Then I need to add the different, you know, like materials. But for instance, to craft a cloth rank 6 legendary at the moment, it's probably like less than 15k gold. So even if you sell it for 30k gold, like it is right now for most of them, you will still be able to make like a decent like 15, 20k gold March. So in my opinion, this is still something that you can really make a lot of gold with. And of course, the 235 legendaries always sell. And so yeah, I'm just putting that at number 10 because, well, unfortunately, I know that for many of you, it's not the focus at the moment. But I think it's still worth having some on the auction house, and you should still try to make some gold with all these other ranks. At number 11, I'm going to talk about the three different items that you can craft with inscription and that I think are pretty interesting at the moment. So you have like the 2 glyphs that have been released with patch 9.2. So actually, I'm just going to type spectral. It's going to be easier. So you have the spectral vulpin and the spectral lupin. So these 2 glyphs can be quite profitable. The prices is already crashing a little bit on most realms, but I'm sure that on like many realms you'll still be able to make like maybe 5-6k benefit on each of these glyphs. And really, in my opinion, this is something you should have right now on your auction house. And then, of course, there's gonna have like the different contract and the contract with the Enlightened. So this one is still relevant at the moment and is selling pretty well. So still something if you have someone like one of your character that is able to craft these different items, still something you want to have up on the auction house. And yeah, so I'm gonna put it at number 11. And now at number 12, as always, I'm going to mention all the like previous, like farms from previous expansions. So you have like all the transmog farms. I recently released a couple of videos, for instance, on some like raid BoEs that you can farm. You have like all these other mounts. As always, you can like make a lot of gold with these different mounts. As you can see, still selling some of these for 300k gold. So really, I would say that all these different mounts are still very interesting and you should still consider farming them, because even if they're not as profitable in some cases than the like current items from patch 9.2, it's still great to have like a huge diversity of items. And so really, like for instance, farming these type of mounts only take like an hour, and you will on most runs be able to sell it for a huge profit. So in my opinion, this is still something you should consider, but I'm going to put it only at number 11 because there is just right now no competition with things like legendaries. So yeah, still something you want to consider, and I always encourage people to have like some diversity on your auction house in order to make a lot of sales. So that's gonna be pretty much it for today's video. I really hope it will help you like see a little bit clearer on what you need to prioritize at the moment in order to make a lot of gold. Again, keep in mind that it really changes from one realm to another. So maybe some of the things I talked about are really not relevant for you, and maybe some of the things I didn't even mention are right now one of the best way you're making gold with. So I'm just trying to summarize some of the main activities at the moment, but of course I'm probably like missing a lot of them, and also I'm probably adding a lot of the things that are not relevant at all for you at the moment. So I will be back very soon with more videos, and in the meantime I hope this one will help you, and yeah, I will see you all very soon. Bye.